The WNBA is absolutely losing its mind right now. Christine Brennan's new book just rocketed to #1 on Amazon, and what's inside is sending league officials into full-on panic mode.
Christine Brennan is releasing her book about Caitlin Clark, and she talks about the impact of Caitlin Clark, and I'm sure there will be so many wholesome stories and uplifting things about Caitlin, but she is also sharing a look behind the scenes at a lot of the drama and negative things that happened.
This isn't just another fluffy sports biography. This book is pulling the curtain back on years of incompetence, exposing everything the league desperately wanted to keep hidden. The fallout? It's about to be spectacular.
Here in Iowa, we were the first to realize Caitlin's pull on fans. When do you think the WNBA fully realized what it had?
Publicly, I'm not sure that they really have. They certainly know, they have to know, Keith, but in terms of the comments, in terms of the way the commissioner, Kathy Engelbert, who I've known and I like, the way she has trouble talking about Caitlin Clark, or if she's asked about Caitlin, then she will say, well, Caitlin and Angel. Well, she wasn't asked about Angel, she was asked about Caitlin. This incredible inability to deal with the facts and to state the obvious. It is astounding to me how Kathy Engelbert doesn't come out after the Marina Mabry hit and say, that's unacceptable, the refs got it wrong. Okay, should have been kicked out then, you weren't, but now I'm gonna kick you out, you're suspended for another game or two. That's just unacceptable behavior for someone who's so important to the league or to any player, right? They can't do that. They seem paralyzed.
How long before the WNBA tries to bury this book or attack Brennan herself? Drop your predictions, because what's happening right now is bigger than anything the league has faced since its founding. But the real story starts with why this book matters so much. Christine Brennan isn't your average sports writer. She's a veteran journalist who's been covering women's sports since before some of today's stars were even born. When someone with her history drops a bombshell about the WNBA, it's impossible to ignore. The moment her book, Her Game, Caitlin Clark and the Revolution in Women's Sports shot straight to the top of Amazon's bestseller list, it sent a clear message. Fans want the truth, not another sanitized highlight reel.
They would be saying, wait, we've done all this and we toiled in relative obscurity with low TV ratings and low attendance, and most people not caring, the vast majority of the country. And now along comes one person, obviously one person who's magical, who's chucking it from the parking lot and it's going in, and who is, those passes are the greatest passes and otherworldly talent. They're looking at it and saying, why is it happening now and why didn't it happen earlier?
People aren't picking up this book for feel-good fluff. They want to know what really happened as Caitlin Clark crashed into the WNBA spotlight, and Brennan delivers. But what exactly did the league get so wrong? Brennan's reporting exposes a jaw-dropping level of denial inside the WNBA's leadership. The day after Clark declared for the draft, Brennan called a top league official to see if they understood the tidal wave coming their way. The official compared Clark's impact to Maya Moore's debut, as if Clark was just another talented rookie. For basketball insiders, that answer was pure delusion. Maya Moore was a legend, yes, but her appeal outside diehard fans was nothing compared to the national frenzy surrounding Clark.
Caitlin Clark has changed the game. She changed it in college and in the WNBA. We know she broke all those records in college, but what was it about Caitlin that has just garnered so much attention and changed things the way that she has?
Rhianna, obviously she's a basketball player, clearly, as you can see, but she's also an entertainer. And that's what takes her to a different realm, very much like Tiger Woods, right? When you see those logo threes, she's, shooting from the parking lot and it's going in. That's where people who don't necessarily pay attention to or love basketball, they're intrigued by that. Or those passes, those no-look passes, incredible length of the court. And that's where people like grandmothers who wouldn't care about this, or grandfathers, they're now rearranging their evenings to watch Caitlin Clark games. She's really the high wire act, and I think that's the difference between her and all the other basketball players.
The league's decision makers genuinely thought Clark's arrival was business as usual. They were about to learn just how wrong they were. And their first big mistake? They ignored all the warning signs. The evidence was everywhere. Clark was smashing viewership records, selling out arenas, and trending on social media like no women's basketball player had ever had. But the WNBA's marketing team, they treated her like a regular draft pick, not the generational superstar she clearly was. When Clark showed up for her first preseason game, security was stunned. Fans were lining up hours before doors opened, parking lots were jammed, and the crowd rivaled NBA playoff games. The league wasn't ready. They didn't have enough staff, merchandise, or even parking space. All the data was there, but they chose to ignore it, fumbling their biggest opportunity in decades. But the chaos didn't stop at the business level. Inside the league, things were about to get ugly.
Why is there so much negative attention to Caitlin Clark being white?
For the longest time, this was seen and still is as a majority Black league. And it is 74% Black. And so I think all of us understand that the issues that can come up in that situation. And
instead of rolling out the red carpet, the WNBA seemed almost embarrassed by Clark's popularity. Unlike the PGA with Tiger Woods or the NBA with Michael Jordan, this league didn't rally around its breakout star. Instead, Clark became a lightning rod, hit with more flagrant fouls than any rookie in recent memory, and criticized by both players and league officials. Brennan reveals that even journalists were pressured not to ask tough questions about the hostility Clark faced. Why was she so polarizing?
Unfortunately, and this is a lot of what Christine Brennan brings up in her book, there have been so many mishandlings within the WNBA, and those things are still spilling over into this season of the WNBA.
The book digs into this, exposing a league culture that saw Clark's popularity as a threat, not a blessing. And that fear had massive financial consequences. Dr. Ryan Brewer's analysis, cited in Brennan's book, is almost unbelievable. Clark's presence generated hundreds of millions in economic impact. Hotels filled, restaurants saw record business, merchandise flew off the shelves, and TV ratings soared. The league had all the data, but still failed to capitalize. They couldn't keep Clark merchandise stocked, missed out on sponsorships, and failed to schedule her games for maximum exposure. It's Business 101. Identify your star, build your brand. But the WNBA acted like they were allergic to success. But the root of the problem ran even deeper, into the league's own culture.
you know, you kind of felt like she was being folded, stapled, and mutilated, right? I mean, she's just getting pummeled. She is my height. I'm 5'11" and a half. She's 6 feet. So we're, you know, maybe just a tad taller than me. And she is not a toothpick by any means, but she is certainly not bulked up to the point you're talking about. You know, obviously there are big players in the WNBA, as there should be, as of course they're terrific. And so, yeah, I mean, and she's driving in the lane and there she's going to the, and you know, obviously a lot of this happens naturally. It's called basketball, there are fouls. And then some of it went beyond. And
Brennan's interviews uncover a league divided against itself. Some officials and players saw Clark's mainstream appeal as a betrayal, fearing that too much success would sell out the league's identity. There were racial and generational divides, with many existing players unprepared for the massive new audience Clark was bringing. Instead of preparing everyone for this cultural shift, league leadership stuck their heads in the sand, hoping the storm would just pass. Brennan even cites sociologists who said the league should have held seminars to help players navigate the new reality. Instead, they threw Clark into the deep end alone.
And this is just so weird. And I don't know the answer, and I'm not, you know, she'll speak about it when she wants to. This is not in the book because the book went through April. But she's been injured twice. And fascinating, the last time she missed a game was sophomore year of high school with a sprained ankle, one game in high school. So from that moment on, all the rest of high school, all of her AAU games, all of her college games, and one season of the WNBA, never missed a game. And the point that her AAU coach makes, which I think is absolutely valid, is one of the reasons Caitlin Clark is because she was always playing.
And while the WNBA fumbled, the world was watching. Clark didn't just boost the WNBA's profile in the US. Her appeal was global. Brennan shows how international audiences tuned in, eager to see America's new basketball superstar. But instead of showcasing the league's professionalism, the WNBA's dysfunction became the main story. Clueless marketing, PR disasters, and public infighting dominated headlines. The league let negative narratives spiral out of control, failed to defend its own product, and ignored the advice of insiders who tried to warn them. The world was watching, and what they saw was a league in chaos. Now, the consequences are starting to pile up. Brennan's book is more than a tell-all. It's a wake-up call. Sponsors are second-guessing their deals, fans are demanding answers, and the league's credibility is in crisis. Every sellout crowd, every viral highlight is now a reminder of what the WNBA almost threw away. Brennan's reporting is sparking a new kind of sports conversation, one that's brutally honest about the league's failures and unafraid to challenge the old guard. Can the league recover, or will it keep doubling down on the same mistakes that almost cost it everything? The answer remains to be seen, but one thing is certain. Christine Brennan just exposed the WNBA's deepest flaws for the entire world to see. This is more than a sports controversy. It's a lesson in what happens when leadership ignores reality, fears success, and fails to adapt. The Caitlin Clark era could have been the league's crowning achievement. Instead, it's become a cautionary tale. The real question now isn't just about basketball. It's about whether the WNBA can finally learn from its mistakes, embrace its stars, and build something bigger than its own insecurities. What do you think? Is there still hope for the league to get this right, or is it too late? Let's hear your take in the comments. If you want more honest sports analysis that cuts through the noise, hit like and subscribe, because this story is just getting started.